Okay, we're live. It's James Minnick speaking, trainingsites.io. Make sure we got some sound here. I think everything is good. What I want to do is I want to give you kind of my first impressions on Manus.im, which is the first general AI agent that's been available now for the last week. I finally got in yesterday, ran some tests, and I just wanted to give you kind of a heads up on what I tried, what worked, what didn't work, and basically some first impressions on what we can expect moving forward. So if you're not familiar with the channel, my name is James, trainingsites.io. This is all about using AI in your education business. So if you're in the course business, anything to do with teaching online, and you want to build a business doing that more than just selling a course, and you want to jump on the whole AI thing that's happening, even if you don't want it to, there's certainly lots of information there for you. And this whole thing kind of is coming to a head with Manus, because if you're not familiar with it or where this whole kind of piece of AI fits in, I'll give you a quick little recap of where I think it is and where it's going. And then I'm going to show you specifically what I did with Manus, what I learned that's good and bad and where things are at, and then some next steps moving forward. So here's kind of the gist of this, and I'll actually open up so you can see the Manus site. And Manus is kind of interesting because when we open it up here, it's actually in my interface. So let me see if I can get to the actual home page. I'm logged in, so it's going actually to the page where I am, but it won't. Let's try this instead. I'll go to an incognito page where I'm not logged in. Now, if you're not familiar with this, Manus.im, it came out and it was limited to the number of people that have access to it. And I didn't have access to it for a while. I heard or read that there was a 2 million person wait list on it. I got access to it yesterday. And when you get going with this, what happens is that you have the first time you log in, you get 3 tasks that you can run. And then again, from what I've read on their Discord server is that after that, you get 1 a day. So I've used 2 already, and I've got 1 more to run today. And I'm going to tell you what I'm going to run based on what I found out. So the difference between this whole space and what Manus is, how it works, and what makes it different is this. When we started off, we had the kind of the ChatGPT thing where we did a text request and then we got a response back. So that was that kind of linear back and forth relationship with the AI tool. One of the things that came out this year was something called deep research, which meant that basically we gave kind of a bigger picture of a context and a question, and it went back and thought about it, all the variations and options, and gave us some kind of big report. So again, these are simplified examples, but we had simple prompt back and forth. Then we had deep research, and then what Manus does is a little bit different in that it does deep research, but it also does all of the additional steps and tasks that are required to complete something at the end. So basically, you're giving it a job. So it's going to do all the research and then it's going to go do the job. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. And that's what makes it different and why people are calling it an agent is because you can hand off a task. It will go and figure out how to do the task and whatever work is required to complete the task, and then it will go do it. And the couple things that I tried with my first kind of, go at this was, and actually, I'm just going to go back to this page for a sec. If you haven't, here's the link right here. It's manus.im. Even though they call themselves an AI agent, the actual URL is manus.im, and it's MANUS, not IS, and .im. I don't know if they didn't have, AI or some other one was available to it, but it was there. So here's kind of what I found out going all through this. So we've got this AI agent that's supposed to be able to do everything. My particular approach to this is I'm looking at it and say, okay, well, how or what can I do when it comes to creating content with this? And there's 2 things to think about when you're creating content, at least I do. Well, actually 3 if I put it in a little bit more detailed terms. As first of all, when I'm creating content, I want to be able to, have my idea, but I want to be able to like have it go and do the research and round out, expand on the ideas, add new ones, interpret different pieces, and basically have a good idea for the content. So I need to do a whole bunch of research. Once that research is done, I have to basically create the content so that I have the kind of content that I want. And that might be anything to do that you have as part of your online business. Now, some of the things that I did, for example, and the ones that I was thinking of, let me just pull up. I did another video earlier, and it was about, let me just see if I have this one here. I did up a video earlier in last week about 100 tasks I would give Manus to actually complete for me. So those kind of ones, making sure that I have the kind of tasks that I want done, or ones that would be appropriate for me. Though that's part of the job, is figuring out what tasks that you want to give people. And I looked at a whole bunch of them, and the one that I started off with was the content. I figured I'd try and create all of the content that I possibly could by having research an idea, create all the content, and then the third part was to post it. So research, create, post. Whether that be email marketing letters, a social media campaign, a content schedule, course lessons, outreach program, anything that you can think of. These are ones that I was kind of going, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. These are ideas that I could use. These are things that it would be nice to have someone do for me, so I'm not the one that's necessarily doing it. So, these are the kind of things that I was focusing on. I'm just trying to look so I can get the one to show you some of the types of ones that I picked up, and maybe things I should have done a little bit better when I was doing it. And as I said, I only have two. I only have two kind of 2 out of 3 tasks required. And here we go. I got the page that I was looking for. Sorry. So I was thinking about what are some of the end-to-end tasks that I could give. And again, I've shown these in some of the other videos, but I just want to give you some perspective on this. Um, you know, uh, Mini course, create a 5-lesson one, convert my webinar recording to a self-paced one. Take my complete student onboarding sequence and recreate it. So it's like doing the research, getting the content, and then actually doing it. So what was Manus able to do? Well, the thing that I did, and that what I recommend looking at what the result was that I got, and also the other work that other people are doing. And if you're not familiar, if you do get into Manus, for example, the other thing that they provide is access to their Discord server. And in their Discord server, which I'm not a huge fan of because I can get completely lost in this thing, but there was a lot of people doing share use cases, and then also a prompt exchange that they had here. So the one thing that did jump out at me right away when I was using this is that there's a couple different ways to do the prompt at the start, because the promise of this is that you can give just a quick task, 1 sentence, 2 sentence, and it's going to go out and do everything that you need. From what I've seen, I did not do that. I was far more specific, maybe than I should have been or shouldn't have been. But what I did is I went to Claude, actually, because my understanding is that Manus is working off of Claude. I went to Claude and I basically said, hey, this is the job that I want done. This is the task that I wanted. And I asked Claude to basically create a prompt that I could give to Manus. So I had a very specific prompt, and I think there was value in that, but it may have caused a problem, and you will see that when we take a look at the work. So the first thing I think that everyone's going to have to play around with is the best way to actually request the task or structure the task, because it's just like prompting, right? When we are normally doing stuff, it's like if you are very specific and have a lot of context. If you were using just a basic ChatGPT, it's like, remember there was all these formulas for how to, do prompt engineering, and it was like, give context to it, make sure you're very specific to get a specific response back. I think it's going to be the exact same thing with Manus. Is the more specific you are, the more perfect the content that you will get based on the quality of the request or task that you made. So the cool thing here is, and I've talked to a lot of other people that are learning or trying to take advantage of this, is the question becomes not what can I create, with all of these AI tools and even this AI agent, Manus, it's what questions are the ones that I should be asking? So it's not a question now of telling it what to do. It's more thinking about how should I structure a question, or what kind of question should I ask that will get the response that I want? So this is something that's a bit of a learned skill. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this as people are going to have to challenge themselves on not saying, just give me content. It's like, how can I phrase this, or what can I request that would provide value in terms of the output? So that was kind of the first lesson. And I got to be really serious about this. With only three to start off with, three task requests, and then one a day. In these early times, you're going to be very limited on the amount of work that you can actually get accomplished. So the first thing, if you do get in and when you get in, is spend some time before you prompt coming up with an understanding of exactly what it is that you want done and don't want done. And in fact, that's one of the things that I did here. And this is a course I'll show you that I put together. And this one's free actually for you. This is on the trainingsites.io campus, my learning community here. And if you look here, you'll see at the bottom of the page where my mouse is moving, you'll see right there at the bottom of the page, trainingsites.io/join. Go and join here. And there's a course that I put together. And this course was actually about delegating the tasks. And in it, I covered one of the things that was kind of that I found out about this is taking a look, these ones here. How to identify tasks worth delegating. So we got something that's going to be done for us, but what should we get done? A little bit of a checklist on how do we know that this is a task that should get done, and then what do we need to do about it to make sure it's a good task, and then breaking it down into delegatable tasks, and then some instructions there. So these are ones that I did or put together because I think that question of understanding the task is going to be really, really important. So here's the second part that I've learned on this, going through all of it, is that when I created, in this particular case, I've got two different tasks that I've completed. And on the screen, I'm going to see if I can make this a bit bigger here for you. On the screen on the bottom left, it says one. I've only got one of three that's left, so I have two that I actually ran. The first one was this 5-lesson course, and you can see the prompt that I had was this big, 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 long, specific prompt that I had. So this was the task that I gave it. And even though the task was a good task, I had a great question and output I want. The thing that using this was that because it's just new, it has not a strict, but it has a limit on the amount of work that it can do for a specific task. And I found this out the hard way because in both of the tasks that I gave it, it didn't finish the task. It did all of the research. Remember I was talking about like a simple prompt, the research and then the output? It did all of the research, and I mean all of it. This was deep, deep, deep research based on the task that I gave it. But at the end, it wasn't able to complete the task because I guess they call it something like a context window was full, and it wasn't able to do that. And my understanding is this because of the server capacity of what they're working with, and it's limited right now. They've kind of chunked it down a little bit to make it so that more people can be on and actually get some results. So I had a really good prompt to have everything done start to finish. However, it didn't finish because it was too big a prompt. So if you do and when get in, my suggestion is to take a look at what you want done. And when you're using this AI agent, try and break it into chunks that make sense. So in my particular one, I was asking it to create the course, create the marketing materials, create the strategy and launch schedule, and actually create an entire website. And it did all that. I'm not saying it didn't do it. It did all that. However, when it came time to actually getting the website up and running, that's when it ran out of context window and it actually didn't get it deployed. But all of the work was there. You know, if you're doing this and you're thinking, I want the finished kind of piece, yeah, that would be great. You know, the whole idea for me is that, you know, just give me a topic for a course and I can basically spin up a course, all the marketing materials, everything just in an hour with a prompt and an AI agent like Manus. So Yes, it did it. I wasn't able to finish that last piece. Now, having said that, if you just take a look on the page here, one of the things that I came is this kind of project that I gave it to create the lesson, the marketing materials and the deployment, the strategy, everything. It worked for maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours. And just to give you an idea of all of the files that it worked on, these are all documents and stuff that it actually created throughout the way. So, website banner descriptions, launch timelines, cover images, ad copy variations, social media posts. So, I can go take a look at it, and it's got all of the social media posts that are there. Instagram posts, Facebook posts, FAQs, LinkedIn posts. All of the research and work was done. It just didn't get deployed. So I asked for a big task. The thing is that if you do run into any problem, or if you don't chunk it small enough and it doesn't finish, all of the work is still here. I didn't lose the work. It just didn't get deployed in the last piece. So even if you are using this and you think, maybe I want it all done, yeah, it might finish, might not. But if you have chunks or it does partially done, you haven't lost any of the work. That stuff is there. So that was really cool. Just remember that it does all this research. It did a great job of it. I was really pleased with it. It had good copy. And again, it was all based on the idea that I gave it and how I started moving forward with it. It even had, for example, meet David, a fitness coach specializing. It had stories, analogies in it. It wasn't just mechanical, facts coming out. It had some real value in terms of the content that it was doing. And I'm talking about all of the different files. For example, it had the page copy, sales page copy it actually had created. Additional things, for example, like documentation, um, affiliate program structures, webinar scripts, pre-webinars, overviews, 7 minutes, scripts, everything to go through. So this did an absolutely stunning job at creating all of this content. And it is like just saying, hey, go do it, give it to a task and have it come back and do it. It did a super, super job. So I was pleased in that respect that it did do a great job with that. Will it get better? Yes. The more information that you give it, when you are using it or adding a task, you can upload files. So some background information, if you have kind of special instructions or ways that you want to be responded to, or the kind or flavor, timbre of the actual content that you want back, or the style, if you have those special instructions, it can certainly use that and make things a lot easier. The one thing that, again, that I did like with this in terms of the content that I was getting back was that it was consistent across all of the pieces. One of the things that I found using some of the other tools is if I make a request, for example, for sales copy or some email copy, and then maybe I come back and I ask for some outbound affiliate emails to use, or I ask for some social media posts, or I've got a 10 lesson course that I'm doing and I do lesson one and then I come back and do lesson two. A lot of times what I found was there was slight variations or inconsistencies between all of these, different prompts. Going through the content that I got created there, I found that it did a really good job of keeping the tone, the voice, the consistency of the content, and the approach to the content was all in one place. So that was one of the other things I did really like, is that there was a kind of complete package, hand it off to the staff kind of thing and have them do the work. It did that really well, and I was pleased about that. Um, One of the other things, just kind of touching on this one, what was the other one that I did here? Yeah, just go to the top so you can see it. This one, I tried to do it without doing the website and stuff, and I asked for Google Docs and PDFs. So this other one, it was a 5 lesson course, but I didn't ask for as much material, hoping that would get through. It didn't get through. But what I said is, hey, give me Google Docs or PDFs of the output. The previous one, it gave me the files that I would have to cut and post and put into things. But in this case, I said, hey, started to, give me the actual docs that I could have as a report or things to use. And that started to do it. My understanding from looking at some of the results that the other people have been getting is that it does output documents that you can download and use. And again, if that's something that is appropriate in terms of checklists or journals or things that you're doing in your courses, that's a great step or way to actually, do that. The one other thing that I will mention is if you do get in, and when you do get in, when I was looking at a lot of the work that the other people were doing, was again, there was a lot of analysis, like do a search and find out this and give me a report on this. So many people were doing all sorts of stuff that was more specific to analyzing from all over the place and giving me some options or choices. So it was really kind of deep research that they were doing with it. What I didn't see a lot of people doing is getting finished outputs in terms of courses. I didn't run into a lot of people doing that. And the results were kind of, give me one-off pieces, or give me, a lot of it were games. So there's a lot of people who are technical here, maybe into the games, but any of the stuff that was analysis based, it was more about, searching and kind of building a tool to look at the different details in the analysis. The one thing, for me personally, is what I do want to try, and I have seen it in the demos, but I haven't seen it work, and it's why I want to try it, is my idea here is that I wanted to create the content, but I also want to post the content. So if I'm on a LearnDash, or I've got a learning campus or something along those lines, and I just want to say, hey, create a course on this, or hey, create a quiz for here, or hey, here's the email copy, or hey, here's the social media post. I want to take it the next step. I want you to research it, I want you to create it, and I want you to post it. That's the part that's missing for me. I haven't had a chance to try it. I have been reading here on the Discord where the other people who are using it are running into trouble with it. I don't think it's there yet. Again, I think it depends on what platform that you're in. But I can see, a month from now where we're going to be able to do that third step where it's like, hey, create the course, post the course, send it to my WordPress site, put it in with this title, of course. You've got the description. You basically say, and also make sure that it gets added in the product as WooCommerce. I want it priced for this particular price, and fill it all in, and it's done. So it's not there yet, but I think at some point it's going to be there sooner rather than later. So if you want to actually play around with this and see what happens, what I do have is on the trainingsites.io campus, I did make available the actual interface of what happens when it's happening. And I'll show it to you right now just so that you can see it and get a feel for all the work that's happening in the background. This is actually the 5-lesson course using AI agents. I basically said create a course about using AI agents to create a course. And this is actually some of the tasks that it was going through. So I put this link and made it available so you can actually see it. And remember, this took 2 hours to complete, but on the right-hand side where my mouse is moving, this is some of the stuff that it was actually going through. So if you look on the right-hand side, these are all specific tasks and stuff that it was doing. Now, this is all sped up, and it was going through, in this case, 8 unique tasks, where each of those tasks had a whole bunch of work in each of them individually. It was creating the lesson content, the action steps, the lesson scripts, instructor notes, um, uh, quizzes, quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3, quiz 4, quiz 5, mid-course assignments, a certificate, a sales page copy, email launch stuff. So these are kind of all of the pieces, and it was just wicking through these ones, and it did a ton of work, and I'm really, really impressed with that, not only in the depth that it did, but the quality of the content that came out. And again, I'll put the links to these so that you can see them. And this actually brings up another issue, which is the one that I covered in this video. Let me just see if I can bring it up for you. Yeah, I did a video on Monday, and I'll just stop it here. This particular video, I was talking about the fact that course content, this is actually a video from the channel. Let me just go back. I wasn't showing the screen. So this one here, course content has no value. This one is interesting, I think, for a lot of people, because in this case, the content, I can create a course, or you can create a course in a month, basically from a prompt that you and I have both learned. So how much value is that content worth, or that sales content worth? And our ability to be able to present it in a way and still be involved in it with the content that's getting created with these AI tools and AI agents is going to be an interesting thing on how we monetize it and build out our business. So if you haven't had a chance yet, I recommend highly that you do go to, let me just go to this again, that you do actually go to the manus.im site, put your name in, try Manus. You'll have to register for invitation code. I don't have any, so I can't give one to you. But go and play around, put your name on the list, because this is it. This is the start of what's going to happen this year. And as I mentioned in that, your course has no value video that I did earlier. Um, I saw Anthropic, or the people behind Claude Sonnet, which is what this is running on. He said last week, 3 to 6 months, 90% of the software coding and development will be done by AI. So what's going to happen to your course when there's tools like this? There's lots more to talk about. So if you haven't already joined my community, trainingsites.io/join. Love to have you there, where we talk about everything about starting, building, growing an education business. This is James speaking. Take care and expect the best.